Okay. We're going to just have some casual conversation while we wait for others to join us for our very first mother-daughter podcast. As most of you know, if you know us, you know this is just a natural progression for us. We are a crew, we are a posse. These are my girls, and ever since they've thank you, Doshi, for sharing. Ever since they've been little, we've been rolling. We travel together. We have a quirky relationship. We have a deep relationship. We just have cultivated something very special. It has not always been easy, but has definitely been blessed. Definitely been blessed. So it was just, a natural progression for us to want to share this experience. And also because mother-daughter relationships, we revolve around that really in our, personal spaces, in our community. They are, such an important piece of the fabric of life, mothers and daughters. So hey, let's do this. So let's see. Ore, yo. Hey, sis. Okay. So hey, let's. What was that? That looked like that was some feedback.
Yeah.
Hi, Tata. Yes, Maya's in South Carolina now.
Yeah,
I'm visiting. Yes. Okay, so introductions or welcome everyone. And introductions. Who's gonna go first?
I can go. Delisha, yes. I can go first. That's fine. My name is Maya. I am 27. I'm a new mom. I have a 8-month-old baby boy, and he is the light of my life right now. And I also am a yoga therapist. I'm actually doing a lot, but I like to write.
Thank
That's
you,
my
boo.
passion. Thank you. And yeah, I like to write and work in the community and teach yoga and be a mom.
Okay, what she has not said is that she does a lot of digital digital art. What
Oh
else?
yeah, I do. I actually it's like something that I do every day but don't think about it, but I do like a lot of like graphic design, web design, a whole bunch of that just kind of pretty easily.
She's naturally good at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's just naturally good at it. So
Yeah.
she's the person that people come to for
In
that.
astrology, I'm a bit of an astrologist, but not
Mhm.
professionally, just by passion, not profession. So, if you ever want to know more than just your sun sign, holla at your girl.
Yeah, Maya will read you very quick. She's gonna ask your birth date and give you a rundown.
And the
Very
time.
okay, Kaya.
My name is Kaya. I'm 25. Um, I'm an upcoming real estate agent. I love to sing, and I love to just be goofy. I don't know. That's pretty much, yeah. I feel like that's a big part of my personality is just giggles.
What she's also not saying is Kaya is just a creative all the way around and straight up boss. Ever since she was a little girl, I was like, she just needs to get some business of her own, literally have a business and have employees because she runs stuff. And huh?
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming one day.
And definitely just a super creative, very crafty, anybody's birthday or a special event, and she's
I
on
am.
it.
Yep.
That
Mhm.
auntie.
I love a good DIY. That was it.
Yes, she does. And so I am Lashanta Ifeyemi, Oshumbaro, Miss Ashe, all the many names that people know me by, and I am Maya and Kaya's mother. I am a lover of nature and spirit, travel, and all good things, love, joy, and peace. And what else do I do? I, do many, many, many things, but that is what roots me and grounds me in. And of course, loving on my family and my community, my elders and my friends, and that's it for me. So let's dig in. Mother-daughter relationships, the highs and the lows. The first thing we want to just talk about, I don't know if we're taking it for granted, but do we actually have oh, thank you, sis. She said one hell of a writer. Thank you.
Yes.
Do we actually have a healthy mother-daughter relationship?
Yeah, 1,000%. And I don't take it for granted either. It's definitely not something that's taken for granted, but I don't think there's any bit of unhealthiness in it, to my knowledge.
Okay.
We're not perfect people, but that's kind of what tests if it's healthy or not, is when you can be imperfect and still make it work.
That's true. That's true. I guess it being imperfect doesn't mean that it's unhealthy. So
Exactly.
that's a good point. That's a good point. What's your take, Maya? Kai.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I agree with Maya. I would say it's healthy. I don't think it's unhealthy at all either. I mean, it kind of backpacking off of what Maya did. Kind of going off of what Maya said. It's not unhealthy, but I feel like every relationship there's always room for it.
Right?
Oh.
No. I'm not saying that there's any unhealthiness at all. But even two healthy relationships, like Maya said, nobody's perfect. So there's always gonna be something that can improve.
Room for improvement.
Room for improvement, yes, but definitely. Huh?
What do you think we can improve on?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
We're not on that question.
Kai, we're flowing. It's just a conversation.
Well, no, I don't really think. I mean, I don't know.
You do know what?
No.
Just go ahead.
I'm just saying there's room for improvement for everything. But I can't think of a specific thing. I don't know. I guess communication sometimes.
Okay. So what about
communication?
We have good communication, but each one of us at the same time, I mean, I know personally that I can work on some things. Okay, so
communicate.
What'd you say?
Personally, the way that we each communicate can sometimes clash, and you're absolutely right.
Yes,
I forgot about
yes, because we have three completely different
communication styles. So that's something to talk about. How we've navigated that. What do you guys think my communication style is? What is it?
Because you're very direct, but I feel like it's very consistent. Your communication style is very consistent and very direct.
Okay.
But I think that it helps and it works. And one thing that I was going to say is I feel like communication is also exactly straightforward, but it's also what saves us. Because
right. We do tell the tea on mama. I'm here for it.
I feel like it's also what helps us though to kind of go into that, because after a conversation we may Dewisha said that your communication styles and your facial expression, but I feel like once we if we do have a clash, we know how to communicate and just be back good. It was hey, you said this, I didn't really like that, let's talk about it really quick. Or why did you say this like that?
I feel like y'all have that. Oh. Not to say no, y'all do that. I feel like y'all do that well. I'm not,
because we actually have more.
Well, y'all actually have more
conflicts.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Y'all definitely have more communication conflicts. So yeah, y'all got that.
So that's why you just like to mind your business and you don't say things when things really bother you either.
Okay, let's address those two.
Okay.
Having communication differences that I communicate a certain way. Maya communicates a certain way, and oftentimes those two, that it causes some friction. So what do we usually do in those cases? Kaya, you observe this. What do we usually do?
I mean,
Because I'm gonna give in my take on it is through my lens. You're an observer, and so I want to know honestly, how do you think we work through that, our communication?
How do we move forward? Yeah.
I mean,
I think first we should explain to people what the difference in our communication is, so they can kind of see the difference.
Yeah, do that.
I can admit that it's me sometimes.
Wait a minute. This is a moment.
Please don't do too much. I'm a very, like, I guess you could say that I say things without really thinking about them too often. I do have a smart mouth, but it's never rooted in anything mean. Like, truthfully, I think I'm just saying the truth. No, I think I'm just saying the truth. But after so many people tell me that this is the way that it is, I understand how it's perceived. But it really does come from a place of just like nothing mean, nothing mal, like nothing like that. But I can understand how that communication towards my mother could come off as disrespectful, even though I do respect her a lot and I cherish our relationship a lot. But it's something that we still struggle with to this day. And there was points where she was like, listen, like, we're not about to be as close if you can't get this together. So that is, and it's nothing crazy disrespectful, y'all, by the way. Like,
no. She doesn't step all the way
out. I just am a quick-witted thinker and speaker. That's all.
And with a few dashes of rude. So here's what usually happens. And I know that she's really quick with it. This isn't anything new. She's been like this since she was very young. But she does test the boundaries and kind of forget sometimes. And I remember thinking, I don't let friends, people out on the street talk to me like this. So surely my child is not going to be able to talk to me this way. So, that was the conversation we had. But even still, we still have those disagreements. And Blue asks, how do you guys move forward after disagreement? We really just let it go.
Yeah,
we let it go, but we talk about it right away. And that's what I think makes all of our relationship very healthy, is that if there's a disagreement, we literally will call it out. We'll be like, hey, like,
immediately,
let's talk about why did you do that? Okay, cool. And then, love you. Like, not really like in that moment, but it just, there's so much, like, we're friends. We'll get into that in a second. We are friends. Our mom is our little friend.
She's
maybe now, but finish what you were saying about the communication piece. Or about us recovering from disagreement.
Recovering from it, and we let it go. Like the other day, we were on the phone. I think I said something kind of smart. You were like, "I love you, but I'm just gonna go," and then you like hung up. And I texted you. I was like, "Hey, I don't think hanging up on me was like appropriate for that situation." And you were like, "You're right. I'm sorry." Like, we just
y'all are something else. Y'all are something else.
Well, no, I think as I'm getting older too, I realize I just not having the space for just, just things that any disrespect or and so after I've said something to you a number of times and it still happens, then I just am like, oh, I don't have time for this. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. I'm not going to keep talking about it. But we do. One of the key things, highs and lows, how to make a mother and daughter relationship work is to address in the moment, address the things immediately. Mm-hmm. Don't let it fester and sit, because what we might all do, and we do have an example of this, where we didn't address something immediately and we, and ruminating on it and thinking about it and drawing our own conclusions as to what the person was thinking and why they were doing a certain thing. And we were completely wrong about that. So we address it in the moment. And I don't think that we take things too personally either.
No.
Once it's there, the relationship is worth more than the disagreement. The moment, the disagreement. Overall, we show each other a lot of support, a lot of love, a lot of, whatever these little bitty things. It's it doesn't add it doesn't really add up to anything major. So we're able to just, to let it roll off our backs. But I think that's also because we have established open communication over the years. What were you gonna say, Kai?
Yeah, I was gonna say, going into that, I definitely feel like how we grew up, for sure, just like the healthy relationship started when we were young. And I feel like that is important, and that is why it is as healthy as it is today. And I did just want to make a few comments just about some things that I feel like were good towards, in our childhood.
Okay.
Well, we already talked about communicating, but I will say, like, privacy. I feel like you've never really been. Oh,
she's never went in my privacy on purpose.
No, like, I mean, you always be knowing everything anyway, so it's not like you need to know.
Intuitive. We just be knowing.
But you've never went through phones, journals, like you've just always allowed. I mean, granted, like you say, even when you know something, though, sometimes you'll still just give us the time to come to you about it, in a sense, as instead of just like going to digging and looking for answers.
Right.
And I feel like that was one of the main things, that you just never really invaded anybody's privacy, and I feel like that's important. Yeah,
I think mainly because I'm a private person. I want my privacy to be respected, but also I think it's just too much energy to be nosy, to be going through y'all stuff and looking through. I just don't have the time, So, and not only do I not have the time, but a lot of mothers don't necessarily need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to, because we know what we know. It's going to come some type of way. Most of the time that I came across information I needed to know about my girls, I just stumbled upon it. I just happened to be, making your bed and saw So,
or
we respect their privacy. I was just thinking the other day about that, like closing doors. I don't remember that being an issue. But did y'all close doors?
I'm not even used to closing.
I probably did.
Because I was like, ain't no closed doors in my house. That's a Black thing. But I don't remember you guys really having your doors closed a lot, or got to a stage where I don't remember. I just don't remember that being an issue.
I mean, I feel like I did, but it wasn't like because I wanted privacy type of thing. That's just because even like now, today, like I'll go, close my door. I don't know. Like that's just it's not because I want a privacy or I want to shut anybody out type of thing, but it's just I feel like I've done that when I was young too, though. Like I've definitely closed doors, but it's never anything like.
It wasn't like because you felt like you needed to protect your own space. You're kind of just more reserved anyway, and I feel like the door being closed is like it's a representation of our boundaries, truthfully.
I also want to bring up something. I'm sorry, Mike. Do you want to finish the thought?
No, that is just a representation of our boundaries. That's all.
I also want to talk about the difference in communication styles and recognizing that in our children. I'm more of a, address a thing now, talk about how you feel, examine it from all sides type of person in the moment in, verbal communication. I think I'm in the middle of that. Kaya doesn't really like to verbalize how she feels. She doesn't like to speak about it at all. And I noticed this when she was a little bit younger, and I was like, okay, so let me write her a letter. And let's
that up.
Huh?
I said I definitely want to bring that up. Like you adjusted to the different communication styles, and you just kind of worked with me when it came to that.
And then the first letter that she did write back was when I realized that, this isn't my baby anymore. I think I've been babying her too much, because she has some very deep thoughts and her perspective on things was ahead of her years. And so I was very grateful that I looked at the writing thing, because I was just like, oh, that's my baby. And no, Kaya's thinking some things through. So that helped me to understand her moods some, and to relate to her better. Like, this is someone who's looking out at the world, and she may not respond to things where we think it's a deeper situation for her, but she's definitely taking it in. So I want to say this: when our children are young, we can't it's easy for us to think that we're living a life that's very different from theirs. But in truth, they are very much observant, and they are building perspectives that are very mature at quite a young age. And opening those conversations and talking to them about those things, even if it's uncomfortable, is really, really important. Don't think your child don't know, don't see, or that would be false. What were you gonna say, Maya?
I was just gonna say that I think that just reminded me of something else that's important about why I think our relationship is the way that it is and so healthy. And I don't think I ever considered it before, but it's the fact that you never like put Kaya and I against each other in any way, like, or you never like, favored one over the other. Like, it really was like, and it wasn't like you kept things like completely balanced either. Like, what's that difference between like equality and equity? Like, you would, each of us, whatever our needs are, you catered to those in a way that like you just loved us both, and you just kind of poured into both of us, and it was pretty like consistent, aside from like the things that you said you noticed and needed to tweak to do differently to
Right.
communicate or reach us better.
I agree.
Yeah. I think one of my saddest moments was when you guys were arguing.
Yeah. We're gonna live that down, baby.
We weren't even arguing. We weren't.
3 weeks. Well, it was 3 weeks. I was like, this cannot be the future for them. Oh my gosh. I had one on this phone telling me how they felt about it, and the other one, well, I'm not going to be the bigger person. I'm not calling her to,
But even then, you played that so good.
Huh?
You played that so good. Like, that could have been a moment where you, like, allowed yourself to get into the mess of it, but you didn't. You were just like.
It was heartbreaking. It was. I was like, oh no, is this the moment where they've always had a very good relationship? And I was like, is this the moment where you guys start to grow apart?
And I was in the wrong. I 100% take accountability for that situation. I was in the wrong. I was young though, so we're gonna.
Didn't do anything to me. It was just
It was just a decision that I made. No, so when you guys
actually wasn't any of my.
Yes, yeah, a whole 3 weeks.
This was during COVID.
I made a very bad decision. I was thinking only of myself, and I was honestly, it was a very dumb decision to make. And me and the person that I made the decision with, we had talked about it after the fact and was like, yeah, we shouldn't have did that. But we were young and we were just kind of just doing whatever, and it was very, very dumb. And Maya definitely held me accountable for that decision. She told me off, and we didn't talk for 3 weeks, and I was.
And I've never told her off before. Like, I've literally, like, Kai and I don't have that relationship. I was just so disappointed. I was like,
me, and she just was so disappointed.
Maya was pissed. Maya was like, if this is the hill we die on, it is what it is.
This is how she thinks and how she views the world. That's just, but you handled that so well. You were just like, you guys can't not talk though.
Yeah, that was
rough. Then you were like, promise me you guys are never gonna promise me you guys are never gonna drift apart. Like, it was.
Yeah, that was intense. I guess COVID, in a lot of ways, stretched and strained relationships. It was it was unprecedented times, and nothing was the way that it was.
How do you feel like the change? Nala, you would have been mad. You would have been even more mad.
Yeah, that's why I say.
Yes.
You'd have been
mad. Do you feel like the change between like mothering and keeping? Would you say that having a good relationship with us has been more challenging as we've become into adulthood, or easier? Or has it a good foundation that it doesn't really matter?
That's a good question.
Challenging, more challenging.
I would definitely feel like it would be more challenging because we're older, so we're
Well,
more.
teenagers are pretty challenging, so that's
Well,
what I was
when
asking.
you're young, you do what I want you to do. Like, go where I want you to go. You know, for the most part, all my suggestions, like, oh, okay, cool. You know, you're just riding along with me. And there was a moment when that wasn't the case. And you guys were, you know, exploring your own individuality, you know, creating or understanding what your personalities were, and detaching from your association with your mother, you know. And that's a natural thing. But there was a period where I call this a temporary insanity phase, being a former teacher. And it starts in middle schoolish and into high school, where literally there's a lot of things going on cognitively in a young person's mind. And they could, you know, be technically called insane because there's just so much going on, that I knew that we were going to be reaching a stage where you guys were going to be emotional and not know why, where you guys were going to think you knew, you know, just very strongly about a thing. And based on your narrow understanding of the world, it would feel that you were right, but you just didn't know anything else. So there would be some conflicts with, you know, with us there. And then also in that stage, children seem to think that their parents are the enemy, that everything that their parents want them to do is against them, you know, isn't considering them, isn't, you know, all of those things. I was prepared for that. And I think I had a lot more empathy in that stage. And I just, you know, I mothered through it. This was the part where I was like, yeah, I'm not y'all's friend, right? I'm not your friend.
Really quick, you forgot the key point. You sat us down before this period started and you said, hey guys, you're about to go through a phase where you're going to think that I'm out to get you. You're not going to want to listen to me. You're going to feel all these emotions. I want you to know that I still love you and I'm still here for you, even though it might not feel like that. And so I just, obviously, your awareness is what carried, you know, what really started that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if mothers have a certain amount of awareness and try to get ahead of things before they
get ahead of it,
you know,
get ahead of it.
Not just that, but anything, you know, like
yeah.
I
was definitely preventative. But then there was a time where I really was like, I don't know them. I don't know who these people are. These are not the children I raised. And I'm completely transparent here. I was like, I don't like them right now.
Yeah, we had phases, honey.
I don't like them. I love them, but where they're at right now, I don't know them and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And you know, I just held to my guns. I'm still not going to be your friend. I'm still going to enforce the rules. I'm not going to, you know, falter on that part. Not going to be, you know, give up from exhaustion. And then miraculously, they both just kind of turned the corner with that. And came back to themselves, or more a different version of themselves, but came out of the insanity phase. But that was a test. And I said, how come no one told me that I was going to go through a stage where I didn't like my children? No one said, you might not like them for a few years. No one told me that. I wish they would have, because I would have been more prepared. It was a little heartbreaking. I'm like, oh, the three of us, you know, we're a crew. And then all of a sudden I was like, who the heck are these people? They are violent. I don't like it. Anybody else want to chime in the chat about what were some of the challenges through that, the different phases of the relationship? Because I think, Kaya, you were asking, you know, has this always been, you know, seamless and easy? And no, as you guys got older, I realized that I had to transform. My understanding, my thinking, my way of relating to you had to mature along with you guys maturing, you know. And there were points where I had to let go. I had to learn how to step back. And even more so even recently. But if anybody wants to share about that, having those experiences with their daughters and with their mothers, you know, going through those different phases of growing up, and the, you know, the push and the pull of that, and how you guys dealt with it. we would like to hear. We would like to hear. But yeah, there was a stage. Then we got to a point where I was like, oh, I love it here. When you guys started adulting, this was COVID-ish. This is when I left the country. Everything was there. But I think that was healthy because I couldn't jump in ways that I would have before to be the savior. And you guys, there was a lot of growth where you guys had to step up and, take things over for yourselves. But then I was just more of an advisor, and I could plug you into networks and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is what it means to mother adult children. I'm not doing the things for them, but, exposing them to different networks and advising.
So you're definitely saying that mothering doesn't end at 18.
Has it ended? Has mothering ended?
No, I agree. I definitely agree, but I'm saying that's
and I'm like, you guys feel like mothering has ended?
No.
It's never.
I do feel like we definitely have, we also have a friendship on top of our mother. Like, I feel like we're friends too.
First,
and my mom.
But I feel like the friendship is definitely, it's like at the core. It's at the core.
Yeah, you're a friend. Like, that's why I can't be mad at you long, because then I'm like, something's gonna happen. I'm like, I'm gonna talk to my mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need my friend.
Yeah. No, she said, understanding that I needed to and wanted, key word, wanted to learn my adult daughter as she entered her adulthood. Wanted to. That's important. Needing and wanting, the difference between that is important. I was going to say, one of the things that I think creates an element that creates a healthy mother-daughter relationship is that we cherish one another, right? Like, we really cherish each other. And that adds to the wanting, like, I want to know you. I want to understand who you are. I don't want to try to make you what I want you to be or get in the way of how you should unfold. I want to know you, I want you to feel good in who you are becoming, and me wanting to know what that is. And so I think that comes from cherishing one another. What do you guys feel about that?
I was going to say, yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like, just, I know she was talking about wanting to learn adult daughter, but yeah, into adult, but just all throughout life as well. Like, I feel like you just never, there was always support, no matter what we wanted to do, no matter what we wanted to, like, because I know I have jumped from multiple different things, and like, just you've just never just been like, like, I don't know, that doesn't make me sound like the best idea. Like, you just always, if we come to you with any idea or just anything that we're interested in, like,
we're getting articles the next day. Like,
you're on it. Like, you're
okay,
ahead of us. Like,
watch
you're
this
just
YouTube video.
Yeah, you're always supporting every single part of us, every change, you just never, I don't know. Yeah. Like,
well, I think I agree with that for the most part, but there are some things I feel like I pushed back on. And
right, like what?
This would be.
Well, hold on, because like what?
This.
What part? What you push back on? Because
no, because there were some times when you guys were making decisions. This has always been me. And I wondered if I should have been more directive or more pushy, because I'm the type that'll give you rope, and you either going to save yourself with it or you're going to hang yourself with it. Like, that's just how I am.
You're very
yeah. And I'll sit down and I'll have the conversation.
And then it's just kind of like I told you so. When
like, well,
we talked about this extensively. I told you what would happen on either side.
You're like, okay, go this way, this is what will happen. If you go this way, this is what will happen. I think you should go this way, but if you're gonna, then But I
mean,
feel
I'll leave it up to you.
I feel like you backed out at the right time, because there was a good amount of times where if we fell, you would catch it. If we fell, you would catch us. If we fell, you would catch us. But then you were like, okay, they're adults. They need to Like I
Yeah.
remember you said one time, and it is kind of like a blessing that we have that much as a safety net. You were like, y'all move around in the world, like that there's someone's gonna swoop in and save the day. And that's good to have and know, but you gotta just be more aware in life because we
But
are responsible.
but I
Yeah.
still want like a example.
Kai is like
You want the example? Okay.
for her.
So there's an example for you. Like
No,
there's
no,
a
you
specific.
explain me.
So when you came out of college that summer, you came home from college. Do you remember?
Yes.
You wanted to go right back.
Okay.
And but there were some financial aid things, some things going on,
Yeah.
and you were going to you wanted to go back
I want to know now. Yeah, but I want to know.
and get an apartment, which means that you would have to work a full-time job, have a full load, get classes, and you were unsure about how this financial aid thing and some scholarships were gonna, it was all a question mark what the finances were gonna be, but you were moving forward with your place. Now coming out that year, you said you didn't want to go back. You were like, I'm done with this, like it was just too stressful, I'm gonna stay local or do whatever, and I fully supported that. And based on the circumstances, I was like, I totally understand. It was a lot. And then, we talked about that decision, you possibly going back and the pros and cons of that. And there weren't any pros, there were just cons. And then I think a week later, and you sounded like you understood. And I think a week later, you were like, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put that, I need to get that application in for my housing tomorrow.
Kai is so hard headed though. Kai is so like
I said, what? And I think I cussed at you that day. I was like, that's the like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So there are some times where I've had to push back. Like I just couldn't. I couldn't let no. No, like we can't do that. There was something else I was gonna say about that. Maya, you were saying letting you guys make we did have a conversation recently, me and Maya did, about that. Like, I know it's important for you guys, I feel, to feel a safety net, no matter what. That if something happens, you got somebody that you can call on, somebody that'll, come through with some muscle, whatever. Because, I'm down for the shits too. But, um, but there was something that, so a couple of things that happened back to back. And I was coming in with, extreme level of support in a few different ways, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and physically. And then there was something that happened. And I gave the advice, if you do this, I don't think you guys should do it this way, because you do this, that, and the third is what's going to happen. Well, they moved forward and did whatever, I suggested they not do. And things, I can't really go into detail because it's so much larger. There's a lot of other people involved. But, and then I had to step in. And I remember calling Maya and saying, listen, you should feel like that you got somebody in your corner no matter what, but I need you to think about me. So you're not just running out there doing crazy stuff and then not thinking about what I'm going to the energy I'm going to have to bring, and how it's exhausting. Like it could literally be exhausting to me. Like make wiser decisions, just don't put me in situations without thinking about, what I might have to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like in that conversation, I was also like, okay, I'm not as wise as you are yet, though. So, like,
but I gave you the wisdom before you made the decision.
but then that would be like, okay, so I just need to like live my life exactly how you would live it, because if I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a no, I get, because I totally get what you were saying. You're like, okay, this could lead to that, but this is also another point. And this is maybe something that we have to navigate as we get older too. Like you're always going to want to step in. You are. But we may have assessed the risks and been like, all right, we're still gonna go. I'm saying
Did
not
you
like, no, not in that
is
situation.
it
But I'm
concern
saying
to me? No, not in that situation, but when you're assessing the risk, you also are thinking about how your mother may play into that
so have you
equation.
noticed a couple times recently? I've been like, hey, I'm just letting you know this. I don't want you to intervene. Like, I'm not telling you this because I want you to
Y'all
intervene.
do tell me that because they don't want me to show up. They don't want me to show up.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, sometimes, I don't
Right,
know, how is that?
right, Celine, exactly. Well, yeah, you guys have said that, but you think I'm just gonna like, there's only so far. There's only so much only so much heat I'm gonna allow you to take.
That's true.
Always remember that. You're a mom now. And
I
ever
know.
since you
I wish
totally
you would tell me to back down. I'll be like, okay.
Exactly. If I came, Ebony said the same thing. My daughter said the same thing. Yeah, well, I mean, there were times where I remember you guys didn't tell me. You would not tell me something until months later. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me that?
Well,
Because you knew how I may show up.
but that's all. But I think that also comes down to personality as well, though.
Both of you deciding not to tell me? You have two different personalities.
No, I'm saying your personality.
Oh. Excuse me. And what about my personality?
Like, sometimes.
I think you guys can be, well, I think you guys.
Hold on. Let's just say when I called you at the doctor's appointment, when I called you, and like sometimes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just have to know.
Everything I brought out, the energy I gave in that moment needed to be given.
I agree. But I'm saying, like, it did. But that's your personality that thinks that.
Okay.
Like, when we were in the car and that guy crossed the street, remember? Like, like, or in Barbados, like.
Yeah, all the mamas, this is a mama bear thing. And I know everyone is going to agree with me on this. Like, we know when someone means our children harm. We know when they're coming for us. Huh?
We were in a car. He was in a crosswalk. Like,
he's not even going to say the right word, but go ahead.
I can't even though, because I be on the same type of time mama.
Kai is the same way.
I'm the same way.
But it just comes down to personalities, like I said. And I think there's just a big difference there. So me and my mom were in the car, and we're uptown Charlotte, and we're parked. I'm driving. And I think I had I just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
We're at a stoplight.
Right, we're at a stoplight, but I stopped a little bit after like the line that you're supposed to stop at. But there were no other cars, like it was what it was. And this man and his wife were walking, like they were walking after I'd stopped. And what did he say? Like,
look, Sophia, never mind. Relax. No, it is what it is. Okay, go ahead, Maya.
This guy, like, he said something. He's like, "Hey, slow down," or something. Just like,
no, that's not. The energy he gave y'all.
It was just me.
Was rage. It was rage. It was the tone, the anger, the energy behind it that he shot at my daughter in that moment. The look in his eyes, how contorted his face got as he's walking by the car, talking to her. I knew what type of time that was, so and I responded accordingly.
But Maya, you're also just like, you're just real, you know what I mean? You're just real. I don't even know.
It just depends, because in certain situations, yes, I can be more. But in that one, I was like, all right, I understand mom wanted to defend me as her daughter. But like, whatever anger he had, he doesn't even know me. That was about him and his life. Let's keep our little peaceful, happy people.
It became about my daughter. And then I just let him know. And I bet you he won't do it again. He won't throw that type of anger at a young Black girl again walking by. I bet he won't.
Everyone agrees with you, I guess.
Yes, because sometimes, and even if
that's me. Telly, that's how I feel.
Anger serves no one good. It could have easily escalated into a bad
situation. That's how I feel.
So, 9 times out of 10,
here's where I disagree, right? I believe that there are moments in when Abu Abu Yabu Shishe, there are moments in which oh, so smoke came out the bag. So I believe that the way you show up needs to be appropriate to the situation.
Yes.
You should assess the situation and handle it accordingly. I don't believe that you should always be, passive or turn the other cheek. That's just not it. Because people will take advantage of that energy. People will overstep. People will try you. You have to understand that we live in this world and we're all a part of nature, and nature is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And nature is savages too. And people are nature. And so there are moments in which you have to let someone know. Now, when I let him know the way that I did, he piped all the way down.
Yeah.
He could have done something differently. It wouldn't have mattered to me, but he piped all the way down. And he moved along. And the way, whatever was coming up out of him, the response he got was appropriate to that situation. And he spoke from his spirit and I spoke from mine, and he understood. He understood. And so, like, I think it was a lesson he needed to learn. But all the mamas get it. The mamas get it. No, absolutely not.
Well, I think we actually did say that after I had Sahir, you were like, go back to that moment. What would you do? And I was like, yeah, I would cuss him out too. Like, if my son was in the driver's seat and someone like, now I understand, like, all right.
Yes. Vanessa says mama will move mountains for her babies. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Sometimes, it is what it is. It is what it is. And, I think mothers and fathers can relate to that. There's just times when you have to check the energy. You have to tell it to go back where it came from.
Because it's not necessary.
No.
Especially to a complete stranger. You don't know this person. So
these two, like,
that's with you and yourself. So yes.
Now, let me say this. I have not raised my children to be unnecessarily violent at all. As a matter of fact, I gave them the green light for a situation where I felt like they had to defend themselves, and they were all the way in high school when I was finally like, okay, here's a situation. There were some people who were bullying them, and I know that this could escalate to this. So, and gave them a game plan. Did they follow my game plan? No. But still strategically thinking about, I know we're in the real world. You're gonna have to engage sometimes. That may come up, and if it does, think your way through the situation. But although I was raised, I came up differently, but I didn't encourage my children ever to rest and sit in a rageful, violent space. I was always wanting to do the joy, happy, fun, peaceful stuff. But also
smize and use your words.
What'd you say? Oh, use your words. Yeah. Sierra says, no, y'all are sweethearts, but y'all also don't tolerate no disrespect depending on the situation. Right. And I think that's important, moms, right? To teach our daughters to have boundaries and to not, accept certain types of disrespect, because some of it can be very subtle. And before you notice it, before you realize it's become another beast. So teach them to, what was that?
Towards anybody.
Nala.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be the last one, but if we really have to, then we can do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be the last one. You're definitely gonna be the last one, but
right,
you're gonna be, if you have to.
It has to be like there's no other option.
Close to wrapping up, I want to kind of get us back on into the highs, lows. That is one of the things that we have disagreed on is, appropriate responses to conflict when it, approaches my girls. If I can, Ebony says, she says she's going through the high school thing now. It's definitely an eye opener. Ooh, Were you here? We were talking about the your children becoming something different, and you not really knowing, who they are, because they don't know who they are, truthfully. And it's a time. It's a time. It's challenging. It's challenging, but being firm and maintaining those boundaries, I think really, really helped. Really helped. Did that help for y'all? Did it matter? Because I don't
I
know.
feel like it mattered at the end. Like during it didn't matter, but that's why we were able to come back and be loving in ourselves, because at the end, we were like, in retrospect, we're like, wow, mom, parented us really well through all of that. Because what if you just like met our energy, or we're just, then in retrospect, once we came out, we would have been like, oh, like, and then we wouldn't be where we are today, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's I'm gonna bring up a story that I tell my friends often, but I want to share it with you guys. This is with Maya, and then we'll close with this because I know some of you guys can relate. But so this is when Maya was, I think she was in her senior year, and your children will get, like the mom told us so moment. Your children will get to a point where we've all experienced this, where they kind of feeling themselves, you know. And so she was grown and she was going to do whatever she wanted to do. And it was just bringing a lot of disruption to the house. So I told her, listen, I said, my job was to get you through high school, right? To make sure you walked across that stage and got your diploma. And that's about to happen. I mean, things had gotten crazy. So I said, once you get your diploma, I need you to come get your stuff and I need you to get out. When you walk across that stage, I need you to get your stuff. I need you to get out. So she was like, okay, that's fine. I think she came to me the next day and was like, I thought about it and that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and go. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, so what are you going to do? Because one thing I did do with my girls is once they graduated high school, they got their first car. I supplied the first car. After that, you have to figure it out. So I was like, well, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be driving? Like, where are you going with, because I'm not giving you the car. And she's like, oh, I'll figure it out. I was like, well, how are you going to, get to work? Da, da, da. And I said, what about your phone? Because I paid that bill. And and she's like, I'll figure it out. I'm just going to figure it out. So I was like, okay. So she walks away. She comes back the next day and she's like, so I thought about it and I'm going to stay. I decided that I'm going to stay. And what was your thought process? Like, what made you decide that leaving wasn't
okay? In the face of argument, I'm going to just stand my point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I knew then that wasn't going to make any sense. But because we were like, I was like, all right, I got it.
I think that's still the case with Maya.
I said going. I never said it was past tense.
You're right. Yeah, I'm just saying.
I already said it was present. That was like
still very much you.
It is, but as soon as that's over, like I'm not delusional, and I'm also pretty like calculated. So I calculated I don't have a car, I don't have a phone, like it's just not gonna work. So I probably wouldn't to turn around that night and say that, but I said, we'll wait till tomorrow and I'll let her know, like I gotta stay. So I'll just get my act together, and then I did.
And she did, y'all. So here's the thing that I think is important: maintaining those firm boundaries. I just really didn't know what was going to happen. Maya graduated from high school and became a completely different person. Like the sanity just returned like overnight. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like the clouds cleared, the storm was gone overnight. And I was totally grateful, but it doesn't last forever. That's the point, that the tumultuous time of their high school years and then trying to figure out themselves, and then, thinking that, you're the enemy, or, whatever the case may be. It doesn't last. It doesn't last forever, but maintaining those boundaries, I think, was the most important piece in that.
I agree.
Kaya, I don't think, no. I mean, school-wise, with your academics, you stayed on top of that. I think there were some times in which you pushed in terms of your independence. And
I was wilding too. Let's
I definitely was wilding. I'm not gonna say it.
like.
We both had our high school phases where we was.
But then we both snapped out of it. But like to bring the point
snapped out, like really snapped out.
Yeah,
but
I think the design and every.
But do you feel like our personalities play a fact in how close that we are, like our mother-daughter relationship? Like, do you think it's because our personality? Like, do you think that this would have turned out if we were more like you, or if we were like just different people? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. I think that the fact that we're all so different helps. Honestly, I think we appreciate the things about each other that are very different.
Yeah.
I think like both of you are hilarious, but in different ways.
I know, but who's funnier?
Creative and resourceful.
That's right, but who's funnier?
Kai, you say it's me all the time.
Maya, I don't say you're funnier than me, sweetheart. I just
say I'm the funniest person you know. You know yourself.
I'm not including myself, though. I'm not. I'm not. Come on now, like mom.
This is an debate. Funniest, and I'm not in it. So anyway, but I think both of you guys are very, you're creative in different ways. And one thing that I started doing when y'all were younger is I just played to your strengths. Yeah, I don't expect one of you to do what the other does. I don't expect the other to do what I don't even bother the one about, I just don't do that. I play to their strengths. I know who's going to show up for what, and I love it. Yeah. And the other piece I think is I don't need you guys to fulfill anything for me. I'm not looking for you to affirm my motherhood or to show up for me in a way that makes me feel appreciated. Do I do that? No. I don't like to be disrespected. But
I feel like there's so many times where we like think we're not doing enough and we want to do so much more, but you're like, no, this is everything. And we're like, okay, like but with that, I just want to ask that question. I think that's important because we have said like what you've done to help our relationship be this way. Like, what do you think we've done as daughters to help support our relationship?
Let's hear it.
Ooh, good question.
Okay, Maya, host this with
I know. And down. This is
okay. So I honestly feel like what I appreciate about both of you is that you guys are always ready. You're always about it. Always. You're always very supportive. Whatever I'm doing, like we really work together on just about everything. So I don't feel like I'm the only one giving. I've never felt like it was a one-way street. Never felt like it was a one-way street. Like you guys definitely show up and without a lot of, talk, especially now as adults, this is what I'm doing and I'm always doing something, And
like you said, you play to our strengths because that's what you asked me to do.
Hold on. What did you say, Kai?
But aren't we all though literally always doing something? Like Maya be doing a lot, I be doing. We all are always doing something, but we all always gonna show up for every time.
Each other. But the point is, you guys show up for me. I'm your mother. You know what I'm saying? And as daughters, you guys show up for me. So it feels great. You know what I'm saying? That feels great, and I appreciate it. So I think that has always been a thing in the relationship where I don't feel you guys are takers. Just taking, and I'm just running myself ragged trying to show up for you guys. You guys show up. Y'all show up big time.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a reciprocal. It's not transactional at all, but it's more just like a circle instead of like a this or that. It's just like a circle and there's stuff in the middle and we just be doing our thing and vibing.
Absolutely. Well, we have come to the end of the hour. I did want to mention this in the very beginning that this will, for a while, it's going to look probably always. I'm always traveling. We're usually in different places, so our setups will always look different. You guys are going to grow with us as we start to, you know, build in more equipment and this, that, and the other, and working out how to, like, we were down to like 3 minutes before 7 o'clock, making sure everything was straight, streaming for the first time. So thank you for showing up. And, you know, we just are glad to be able to share this moment with you guys and look forward to some more. We hope to be back in 2 weeks. We're going to see if we can do this like every 2 weeks, right?
Yes, every 2 weeks. And topics, you know, if you guys have anything specific that you guys would love to hear us talk about or any specific questions, feel free to inbox me, Maya, Mother, anybody. Just you drop a comment, leave it on the page, and who knows, it could be the next episode.
And we will be talking about just stuff, just life. We won't always be mother-daughter things. We'll talk about stuff going on, you know, in our society, you know, how we feel and think about those things, how it affects, impacts our relationships and things like that, you know. So everything is game. Everything is game.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for tuning in. We love you, and we will see you again soon. Peace.